we were just trying to work things through, and it was a lot of stress for me, and we went opposite ways.
Well, I think you went an opposite way, and then...
Well, ultimately, we, after I...
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we're talking Love is Blind Season 5 reunion.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who was missing though, man? We're missing your girl, Renee.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't get no Renee and Carter,
mention
man.
of Renee and Carter.
It was
Not
like-
at all.
Supposedly got married there the whole time, got cut out, and we didn't even get the details.
Got married or engaged?
Yeah, got engaged, I guess. But, got engaged and had a wedding, allegedly.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I
man.
mean, somebody had made the comment in the last video that, like, they didn't show the bachelor and bachelorette parties this season. And it didn't even click to me that that happened, but I'm guessing it has to do with the fact that they were there.
Yep, maybe they just couldn't cut him out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Too much integration of, like, she's probably wearing a sash saying she's the bachelorette, so can't cut that out.
I don't know, but I would like to have seen some details regarding that, and I didn't get them.
I know, right? It's pretty freaking, it's a big time letdown there.
Yeah, and it's a typical reunion. We get the Lachey's. They're back.
Yeah.
They're back.
And it starts off with the two couples hanging out on the couches together this time.
Yeah.
We want to say hello to the couples who made it all the way to the altar. Izzy, Stacy, Milton, Lydia. Hello.
Yeah.
And of course, they go to Milton and Lydia first, and they're still happily married.
Happily married.
Not a chance in hell, right, Billy?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently Lydia is getting along with Milton's parents and stuff, so all is good.
Yeah, in the Milton household.
front.
That's right.
I mean, we talked about, he said family and parents, but I really wanted to know more about the sisters.
Sisters, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, and man, Lydia's dress, she's putting it out there.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, things are hanging out.
There were a lot of people putting things out
no
there.
doubt. It was a good dress, though, man. She looked good.
Yeah, and they get their little rocks from the Lachey's, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice gift for those two.
Yeah, I like how they explain what the rock is. Like, it's like, we know.
And they had another wedding celebration, apparently, in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah,
Puerto
man.
Rico, yeah. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I wouldn't have blown that kind of money, I guess, again, when I got it for free.
And
But
I mean, the pictures look cool, man. They had a good time there. So
I mean, I guess if she has a lot of family there.
yeah, exactly.
So
just celebrate with them.
then they move on to Izzy and Stacy, and of course, like Stacy's showing off that stomach.
Oh,
So
yeah,
gotta, right?
I've seen
matter
a
where she's
picture
at,
of her
man.
in that dress standing up. It doesn't just show off her stomach. It's like it barely covers her lady parts. Like there's an extra piece hanging out, a hip or something
I
like
like
that.
their little bracelet and shoes. They look good.
Yeah.
Wasn't too crazy about that dress she was wearing, but
Like she just had like a damn curtain wrap around.
Yeah, it looked like somebody tore like the drapes down and be like, let's just wrap you up here.
yeah. And then Izzy looked like he lost some weight.
Yeah, he did look a little bit.
His
little
face
more
looked
thin.
thinner.
Yeah. And they get into them. What'd you guys think?
So I mean, it was just some of the crazy shit. Like Houston's freaking huge, man. I mean, they're all talking like Houston's small town bullshit, dude. Houston is a huge freaking city. It's got tons of suburbs. Like it's freaking ginormous, right? And like, so how the hell these people all keep running into each other randomly just blew my mind.
Maybe they're following each other on X, and then they're like, "Oh, I
maybe.
see they're at this bar. Let's go."
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I just find that hard to believe that you're randomly gonna stumble upon these guys.
Right, exactly.
Unless
Especially when you got him hanging out at Chipotle all the time.
the only thing I can think of is they did all hang out as a group together. So if they talked about local hot spots that they do like to, then maybe they are now going to bars that they had never gone to before based on conversations they'd had with other people. But yeah, I mean, I lived in Houston for 15 years, maybe.
Now they keep
I don't think
hammering.
that's-
They keep hammering this guy over his credit score. Why is this such a big
I mean,
deal?
what is the credit
Exactly.
score? Like, how bad is
This
it?
guy's a little bit in debt. And
He's
they're
not
acting
in
like,
He said he's not even in debt. He said my bills are paid, everything's paid off. I just got a shit credit, you know. So
well, then why has he got such a crap credit score?
that's
But-
true,
he
right?
has no credit.
Well, a lot of your credit score has to do with debt to income ratio, right? So if he's probably got some sort of debt at
He's
least.
got to start. He's got to get himself a secured credit. He's got to start building it like a teenager. And
I
start
just
over.
don't know if it's that big of a deal where they're like, you kept this from me, and why didn't you tell me? And you had every opportunity. It's like,
Yeah,
I got a bad credit score. Jeez.
I mean, if she asked him about his finances, I don't know. I mean,
When he told her,
he didn't have debt. Like,
but he did say he mentioned it to other girls in the pods. He said, "Look, I had this
Yeah.
conversation with other women." She's like, "Okay, then why the hell didn't you have it with me?" You know, so
you didn't ask. You didn't ask my credit score. I bet you she asked the credit score of everybody else she dates now.
hold on a second before we hook up here. What's your credit score?
Yeah, and they didn't continue dating after the wedding.
Yeah.
No surprise there the way it ended. And they didn't even get into like what Izzy said about her, which is kind of
No,
disappointing.
that surprised
Yeah.
me too, right?
Yeah, they should have showed that clip and been like, what do you want to say?
What's up,
But I'll say, like,
Right.
watching that, he was very handsy with her.
Oh yeah, he kept touching her leg and
Yeah,
like,
he
oh,
was-
we're still
Mhm.
cool, we're buddies.
They're like
wrapping his arms
bros
around her.
now. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
okay.
this is kind of weird because like Izzy's like dating everyone around again. Like he's
Uh-huh.
like going through it like he's on the show again.
Yeah.
And he
That's-
tries to hook up with Stacey
Johnny.
again. And then they bring Johnny and Chris out and eventually tries to hook up with her. And they even kiss
Yeah.
after he dumped on her
Uh-huh.
at that get together.
Well, the funny thing is too, like, damn, the Lachey's keep harping on it. Like, oh, wait a minute, did you guys, what's going on? Did y'all do this today? He's like, no, we didn't hook up or anything. We just kissed. And they're like, oh, so you made out, you didn't hook up. But she's like, and then she looks at Vanessa, like, looks at Nick. She's like, evidently, hook up only means sex now. He's like, when the fuck did hook up ever not mean sex? Like, hooked up has always meant sex. Like, even when we were in high school, and shit, hooking up was always sex.
Never hooked up. It was never.
Wait, what is hooking up these days? Like full
Like,
sex?
let's fucking go.
Okay.
Educate the old people. No, we never had any sexual relations.
No,
So when she said that, I was like, what the hell is she trying to say? That's just stupid.
But is kissing cheating?
They weren't together.
I'm just saying in
Kissing,
general.
yeah, hell yeah, kissing cheating.
And
Yeah,
then that could mean hooking up.
no,
Could. I think it could.
I feel like it could.
no.
I think it could.
Kissing is not hooking up.
Yeah, it could be hooking up. And just like the makeup thing from last week, a lot of people getting on to you about the makeup with Stacey saying, I even posted 2 images. I don't know if you saw it. It looked pretty similar.
Nah, man, they look completely different.
Okay.
Her eyes
Stacey,
look different.
yeah, her eyes look big time different. Yeah, Stacey,
Yeah,
She
but
has
you
blonde
said she looks like a whole nother person.
She does look like a whole new person. She looks younger without the makeup.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
But
she does. She looks younger without the makeup.
They
She's
bring-
almost like a little kid.
they bring Johnny and Chris out, and I like the dress Johnny's wearing. A
Yeah,
little,
Johnny looked
Yeah,
good.
that was good.
like a little
yeah.
princess or
Yeah,
something.
like she came straight out of Frozen or something.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, she looked good.
Yeah.
I liked her dress because it was elegant. It accentuated everything about her that needs to be accentuated. But it wasn't like overly flashy, kind of like Stacey's dress, like
Right.
I liked
too
it.
revealing. Or
And,
Yeah,
and
good
of
dress.
course, we hear Chris and Johnny are not together.
Are you two still together?
With that reaction, obviously not.
Okay.
Dude.
Oh, your boy Chris.
Yeah, Mr. Salt of the Earth, Chris.
Yeah, can do no wrong, Chris.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
this guy! Holy
Mm.
crap, man! This guy went from like a saint to fucking shit all in like one sentence, man. It's like
He could have
holy
handled
cow.
it better, he said.
Found out the following weekend that Chris was seeing someone else.
Are you saying he started seeing someone else without breaking things off with you?
That is how it went down.
I mean,
He also says he loved Johnny, which I don't know. I hate when people just throw that out there. You don't love someone and then cheat on them and all
then
this
not even
stuff.
tell them, like,
yeah, I'm
right.
just like, that's a douchey move.
Oh yeah,
Chris.
big time, dude. What a freaking douche.
I did fall in love with you, and I still care for you. It's a terrible, terrible thing to do.
That was horrible. And she was like, they were like, wait, you didn't even tell her about it? You just was like, yeah, I have problems telling people things
that they don't want to hear.
They don't wanna hear. It's like, so you're a coward. Is
I
really
was
what
going to
you-
be with
really
them
what it is.
both for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, he went down a lot of notches.
Oh,
from
dude,
this
he went from the
freaking-
top to the bottom, man. He became,
Yeah.
if we did another freaking thing, like, who's the new villain, it'd be Chris, guaranteed.
It was not a good look for him. And
It's horrible.
surprisingly, like Johnny is like kind of sticking up for him. Like she's like, "I'm sorry," and he's
Yeah.
like, "Nah, you did fine."
Yeah, he's like, it was my fault.
Yeah. You could tell they're still friends on some level. Like,
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
she forgave him for that,
Mhm.
obviously. And she even said that she put some of that blame on herself because maybe they wouldn't have been in that position had she been all in with him to begin with.
Yeah.
He was her second choice. So, like, there was already.
But still, that still didn't give him the right to go screw
Yeah.
somebody
No.
else
No.
when they were together.
It
Yeah,
does
that's-
make
that's
you wonder,
ridiculous.
though, like, because he was all in on her. So if she had decided to go with him, they would have gone through the whole Mexico, the trial
Mhm.
marriage. And, what's this guy like in a marriage?
Yeah, Johnny gets crapped on. Like, I mean, she brought
Yeah.
some upon
She
herself in the pods, but
she
after that
handled it
moment,
well.
like she's kind of like gets crapped on from then on out.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And she handled it well in that moment. And I do think it was kind of funny. And Stacey, you could tell, was very irritated when Stacey was giving her little monologue about the situation. And it was just, they were just having, like, I didn't hear what she said.
Well, yeah, because
They were
kind of rude while Stacey was talking.
Oh yeah, when they were going back and forth, and then then Vanessa's like, "Well, guess what? We got the tape. Let's roll this film and show what really happened."
I mean, and then they get into it because they're rehashing that, and like Izzy and Stacey really aren't backing down. But it seems like what Johnny says is more accurate than what they say. Like, we weren't even talking about it. Your whole conversation centered around Johnny.
Well, Stacey didn't go over there to trash
talk about it, exactly.
But she got right into it.
However,
once Johnny showed up, she did. Yeah,
she did. She laid into Johnny.
No.
So in Johnny's
the whole conversation was Izzy talking to Chris about Johnny and said she loved me 4 times, and this you can ask Stacey. And this, that,
but Stacey didn't answer. Stacey just sat down and didn't say anything.
She specifically said, "I was hoping to get away from this."
Yeah, exactly.
So
She's like, I didn't want to come over to the drama.
So her truth was her truth.
Exactly.
However, Johnny comes over and says, "What's going on?" And then Stacey immediately unloaded on her. So.
They were
Johnny's
essentially
truth is
plotting
her truth
against
as well.
Johnny.
Yeah.
They were essentially plotting against Johnny, which is what she said.
No, Stacey never mentioned a word until Johnny came over, period.
Yeah.
Stacey didn't open her mouth about Johnny until Johnny came over. Chris asked Stacey a question, and Stacey didn't even answer. Johnny came over, and
But that was Johnny's truth, because Johnny came over and was immediately
harassed or
berated by Stacey. So that's exactly what Johnny was saying was happening.
Yeah, so they both had their own truth, and in a way, they were both kind of right in their own eyes anyway.
I think this makes Stacey look like crap, man. And I just don't like her the way she handles her business and stuff like that.
Well, but what did happen,
She's
though,
superior to you.
what I did think was
Everyone.
cool, though, is that Izzy did apologize to Johnny. But look, I went about it the wrong way. I said some shit I shouldn't have said, when I was saying my stuff. And
but then he immediately says, "But I meant everything, pretty much." And I'm like, "That's not an apology."
Well, no. He said I meant what I was saying, but I should have said it.
Yeah,
in a
my
nicer way,
delivery.
right?
But I'm
My
like, that's not real a good apology then.
So instead of saying you're a shit person, you're a person that's kind of poo poo.
Or he could just be like, "Hey, look, I just feel like you're not being completely honest here."
And this is what irritates me with Izzy is he's saying all this crap, he's speaking his truth, but then he tries to date her later on and even gives her a kiss. Like, what the heck, man?
He's all confused.
But she did too, right? It takes 2 to tango, man. She was in on it too after he talked to her that way and shit. So whatever.
But she's not saying terrible things about Izzy.
I think
she never said a terrible thing about Izzy.
I think that night when he was saying all that crap about her, he was
drunk as shit,
one, drunk, and 2, I think he was thinking it was going to impress Stacey and convince himself and Stacey that he was completely over Johnny and had nothing, didn't want anything to do with that. And I think he was trying to convince himself of that on some level too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then that's why he was able to possibly try to date Johnny after, because he didn't really truly feel that way.
And Izzy kind of tries to hook up with Stacey again. It just doesn't really work. And they keep bumping into each other, and her family loves them apparently.
Oh yeah.
So maybe they should try and make it work.
No.
But she's got herself another dude now. She's got
celebrated his birthday. What was it? 45, 50,
maybe 51st.
55? Who knows?
She's not providing many details about that.
That's
so
right.
I'm surprised Izzy didn't chime in on that one.
He's got a 5-year plan.
5-year plan.
And then
what's his credit score?
Then they bring out JP and Taylor.
Ooh.
And they get into that.
Oh yeah, and JP still at the very beginning he actually opens his mouth a little bit. Then after that it's just like
It's the makeup. It's the makeup.
He puts his foot in his mouth and kind of, he's agreeing with people, and then they bring up the makeup stuff, and he gets right back
where he was at. Yeah,
and she's sitting there like.
The look on her face is just priceless, dude. She's like, she just her eyes, man, just glaring at him.
She's like, I hope you're looking at this full face of makeup right now.
Right.
Yeah, and he brings up it's the cameras and made it awkward.
When he did bring that up, I thought, I could see that.
Sure, but that's the problem with everyone, though, right? Everyone's like, yeah, it sucks, and. I
think that played a role into it. I do think, like what she said, I think he just wasn't attracted to her.
Now, I do think out of all the people, the cameras affected him more than anybody. I mean, you could tell he was just super uncomfortable.
He was uncomfortable there.
To the point where, and this is freaking hilarious, when they're like, dude, well, how do you normally meet girls? He's like, well, normally I don't approach girls. I have my friends do it. So this dude's totally a freaking...
Stacey's face on that was like...
This dude's a super introvert. He's very uncomfortable in those kind of situations, so...
Yeah. And they kind of try and get to the bottom. Like, are you just not attracted to her? And he's like, I was pretty shocked and turned off initially.
Definitely the first time I saw her, it was a little shocking and off-putting. but
Why is
So,
it?
Well,
like,
it was very
after-
off-putting.
Right.
Was
Yeah,
the word
off-putting.
he used.
So after he's, after he gets over the makeup thing and all that, and things are kind of okay and smooth out from that, he puts his foot like right in his mouth again about the makeup stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And then when they ask him if he's seeing somebody now, he says he's been dating someone for a year. And they're like, well, are you able to communicate with her? And he's like, yeah. Are you?
Right.
What would she say to that question?
So I thought Taylor handled herself pretty well.
Oh,
She,
she did, man.
she
Yeah.
forgave him. She's just like, live and learn,
Mm,
I'm just
exactly.
kind of scolded him, but
Of course.
A little bit, but he
deserved
kind
it.
of needed it, right? Yeah.
He deserved it. And he was wearing his American flag socks.
Yeah.
He did.
doing his thing.
Well, he had the
Captain
white
America.
shirt, the blue blazer, and then freaking his red handkerchief there, right? So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then they bring out Aaliyah.
Well, I think, no, they brought Aaliyah out before
we
we
just forgot
skipped
to talk
over
about it.
Aaliyah.
We just skipped over. But yeah, then they brought her in.
previously.
Yeah.
And then Lydia speaks first about that, and she tries to break it down.
Well,
Mhm.
did you see the looks between Lydia
Oh, yeah,
and
totally did.
Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Back
You
and
could
forth.
tell. You could tell
Back and
as soon as you
forth.
walked out,
Some
you could tell they're not
tension
friends
there.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. They loved each other. They were best friends. They were like sisters. But like in this moment, the looks on both of their faces.
Because I don't think Aaliyah is buying what Lydia's selling.
I don't think she is. And after what was said, and after the way Aaliyah was saying what happened in the pods, and all the girls are saying, I don't blame her. I would feel the same way if I was Aaliyah. Yeah, but look, I don't really know what to believe, but I know there's a little more to the truth than what you've been telling us.
Well, I
you
think
know, so.
Lydia's explanation was that they had both seen something in November of
Yeah, they talked in
2021
November about the show.
that they were casting in Houston.
I think
and
they're
that was it.
downplaying that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's
yeah,
Lydia's
there's definitely more to that
explanation.
story. No doubt. about it.
So there's a big rumor whether Lydia and Uche knew they were going to be on the show together, and still don't know if we got the answer to
No,
that,
we didn't.
really.
We
We
didn't.
didn't.
Because Lydia downplays that.
Mhm.
She kind of omits we had a 2-second conversation about it, so
Yeah.
that means you knew.
That means you knew. Yeah, I mean,
And
you
that's
talked about it.
big information if
Right.
that's true.
And I like, and what's funny, and you mentioned this, Josh. We all just watched this together. You know, the questions that Aaliyah was asking, man, was spot on, right? She's like, "Hey, I want to know, what happened here." And Josh is like, "Hey, we need to make her the host." I was like, "Hell yeah, man!"
Yeah.
She's asking the good questions.
yeah.
Yeah, I would
'Cause she
also
really wants
liked-
closure on this
Oh, yeah.
thing.
I would have liked to have asked Uche the same question. Not that I would have gotten the truth from him either, but
And apparently the producers thought about not allowing those two to participate, but they were able to be convinced by those two saying, "Hey, we're not going to go for each other." But who knows, what was said
Mhm.
beforehand.
yeah, I don't know. That whole situation's a mess. I do think there's some truth. The truth lies somewhere between Lydia's version of it and Uche's
course.
version of it. But I do think Uche had way more ill intentions behind them being together
Yeah.
than Lydia did.
Well,
And in the first couple episodes when you find it out, it plays differently. It
Yeah.
plays like Lydia's the desperate chaser, stalker, and I really think it's more Uche.
well, the other thing too, though,
Sounds like it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But what I did like too, when Aaliyah was like, "Look, I kept trying to put a boundary up there with Lydia, and she kept crossing the boundary, telling me shit I didn't want to hear." It was almost like she was kind of getting off on it, right? Kind of like just
Yeah.
And she's like, "I kept putting that boundary up, and Lydia just wouldn't listen to me. She kept crossing that boundary." And from what we saw on the show, she sure as hell was, right? I mean,
She said
I
she
just
felt
don't-
ripped off from her experience.
I agree with that, and I'm not blaming Aaliyah for it in any way for how she handled it. Because I guess she's just sitting there listening to it, but she didn't want to hear it. She had told her she didn't want to hear it, but she just sat there while she was saying it and just like, why don't you just get up and walk away at that point?
yeah, but that play. I mean, you've seen that room. It's not very big, man. There's not really anywhere to
Like,
get
do you
away.
think
to,
Lydia's
you
gonna
know,
chase
so.
her and be like, no, let me tell you one more thing?
At
Like,
that point,
I don't know.
At that point, she might have. She might have pulled a Uche right there. At that point, and been like, "Hey."
I don't, there's editing and all that stuff, so I don't know if she said, look, stop.
And you're putting people on the spot. I mean,
Yeah.
you're thinking about what you do after the fact, but
Yeah, you're not in the
they're
moment.
processing it at the same time.
Right, exactly.
So, but yeah, very awkward, and it kind of really sucks not to have Uche here to
Yeah.
explain because he's always good for some drama,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm sure he has a different version than everybody else. So,
Yeah, no
Mhm.
doubt.
but he was apparently contacting Milton at the
Oh, everybody.
wedding and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
else. So.
But I love that Lydia said, he sent the text saying, if you want to talk or something, reach out, whatever. And whatever she said it was, Leah's like, I got the exact same text.
Yeah.
Copy and paste. Copy and
Well,
paste.
I think they said it was the day the episodes dropped, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, the
If you
episode
wanna
just dropped.
talk.
If you watch it, if you want to talk, let me know."
Yeah.
Yeah, and Milton sticks up for Lydia, which is kind of cool of
Yeah, it
him to
was
do
good.
that. But I don't know if he was able to convince Aaliyah too
Well,
much. I mean, it's a kind of a crappy situation
Yeah.
for her.
Well, and he got a lot of kudos even from Nick the way he handled that situation, right? And
Yeah.
even Aaliyah was like, "Man, I was watching that show, just like, hey, Milton, you know." So
Yeah, because he did put up those guards and
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
bother telling people. But
Yeah.
unlike Aaliyah, who was talking to Lydia the whole time. So
And we learned what was on the phone. Because remember, he
Oh, yeah.
said, I questioned, what is he showing her on the phone? Like, is he
Oil
trying to show
barrel.
her, like, we have this time or something like that? I thought at first, because I wasn't sure if he was making up that they had dinner plans or
Mhm.
whatever. Like, he was trying to show her the time. Or was that, like, an escape,
right.
plan or whatever?
I would just tell the dude, like, dude, we've had enough of this.
Right,
We're taking
exactly.
off. Like, I don't need some kind of like overly complicated plan to be subliminal about this.
Right, just like, hey, I'm done. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
think
know.
they tried that. He's really good at I think she tried it many times, but she did keep walking
She
back.
kept walking back to him though.
I did like how Milton, unlike everyone else who's all in love with each other, says like, Uche's not my friend, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
Wait,
yeah, well-
no, that he said none of these guys were. He's like,
Yeah.
look, we were all talking and taking shots together and whatever. We weren't friends,
Right.
You know, so
Although-
I just met these people, we're together in this thing, hanging out, making the best of the situation, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Although when they got to the trivia question, him and Chris really have like a little
Oh, yeah. There's bromance going on.
bromance going
Yeah.
on. It's
So-
the tall
Well,
and
that,
short
well,
thing.
that was a fun thing too. Whenever they asked Taylor, like, well, when he came out, what did you like about his show? I liked that he was tall, and then Milton's like, he's tall.
Thank God he's tall.
Is he
I was
tall?
excited. I was nervous.
Well, he's not Milton tall.
All
Yeah.
about perspective.
right, exactly.
So what'd you think about this reunion overall?
That was good, man. I mean, again, it would have been great if Uche would have been there, to,
Yeah.
to kind of get the, some more of his version of the truth, I guess. But other than that, I thought it was pretty.
Well, Renee too. It'd been
Yeah,
nice
Renee-
if she was
well,
there.
Renee
They didn't
Carter.
even bother trying to get into
No.
that, which is unfortunate.
They spent so
There's a lot of
much
rumors
time.
online why they didn't, I guess, but who knows?
I think they spent half the show on the whole Stacy, Izzy,
Yeah, there was a
Johnny
lot on
thing,
that.
and I feel like the Uche, like Lydia, Aaliyah thing was probably more
Yeah, no, I would agree with
important
that.
for me to know. So like I feel like they addressed it and they had their little statement about how the show found out and this, that, whatever. And
Mhm.
but I think we could have done
No.
some more truth to figure out what really happened there.
I thought it was cool. They finally told us exactly what the deal was, like what the producer said,
Like,
when
when they
they
could
were
say
allowed to
it or
tell
not
everybody
say,
and all that.
yeah.
At least we finally got a little closure on that. I'm like, okay, now we can kind of understand how that went down. But
Yeah, but was it pre-planned? That's the question.
right, exactly.
We'll never know.
World, who knows?
Doesn't sound like
How
it,
many licks
so.
does it take?
But yeah, I thought it was okay. Like I said, I was really wanting to know the Renee stuff, and we didn't
Yeah.
get that. So and
It was better than any other reunion they've had, I think.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say it was. I wouldn't say it was decent. It was a decent reunion.
I mean, I
I'll
think-
tell you what, it was a hell of a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like
They
with only
asked-
two people that were really
Yeah.
getting together. So
They
two
asked the
couples.
pointed questions versus like glossing over things. Although, like I said, I do think that they glossed over a little bit with
yeah,
Uche.
I still think, and we've talked about it before. They need new hosts. And like I'm done with the freaking Lachey's. They need some new blood to come in there and host this show. And
I don't mind
we'll
them
see.
really as hosts, but they got to get the people back that
mhm.
have the details and the drama and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, to not have Uche, that's a pretty big fail here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So I don't know.
Well, he's a lawyer. He read through the contract.
Yeah.
He found the
Yeah,
loophole.
his loophole.
He's probably pretty smart not to show up, but
Oh,
yeah.
the show
doubt.
probably needed him there.
Yeah,
I
should've
did
totally
like
given
that
them.
Aaliyah also pointed out that, they did date after
Mhm.
and that she felt like she got the barbecue Uche,
Uche,
not the pod Uche.
right, right.
That's a little irritating too that she would like give him another chance and stuff, but I don't know.
And I mean, I saw the barbecue Uche in the pod, so I don't know how she didn't see that, but
Well,
And she
yeah,
said like I don't think he was really attracted to me. Like wasn't
right.
his
She-
type.
yeah,
she
I've
said-
read that too. I've
she-
read that he has a type and she's not his
And she
type.
said he told some of the people some of the other people from the pods that too.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, that's
I've
messed
read
up.
that in somebody's social media post that that's
He's a freaking douchebag, man. Period. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. So the big surprise to me was the Chris stuff, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Holy cow, dude.
Did you feel a little let down there?
Yeah, I was let down with Chris.
Big
I mean,
time.
You put him
my
up on this
whole
pedestal.
my whole thing
Right.
changed about that guy.
Everybody's did, I think. I mean, you seem like this super nice sweetheart of a dude, and
And he's
all of a
trying to
sudden
play
he's
the
a
innocent
douchebag.
card, like, "Oh, what do you want me to do?" And it's like, come on, man.
Like,
He's
don't
like,
cheat on your
"Sorry, I
freaking
let
person."
you down.
Right.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah,
And I can't believe like Johnny kind of let him off softly too. So
yeah. Well, evidently they talked about it before that though, and he'd apologized to her and all that. So I mean, we gotta remember this is a year and a half after all the
Yeah.
shit. So yeah, that was jacked up. dude.
Johnny seems like she still relies on him for like to be an ally with the Stacy Izzy thing. So
Right.
So now that Chris is off the pedestal, who are we putting on the pedestal? Milton?
man, that's the problem with this season is there's no great people. Like yeah, I guess it would be Milton.
Milton, dude.
Milton,
Yeah, Milton's
yeah.
freaking Milton's awesome. That kid is amazing.
Not
dude.
too
The kid.
That kid is amazing.
not
Yeah,
too impressed
birthday,
with any of the
okay.
women though.
No,
Yeah.
no, not really.
There's not like an amazing.
Maybe it could have been Renee. But we didn't get to hear from her. You know?
Oh.
Yeah, well, I don't think so, but from what I heard, but
It was Miriam.
Yeah, Miriam. That was a funny question. What does Miriam do for a living?
yeah, I think
Sell
they need
stuff.
to. How do you guys feel about the trivia stuff?
It was-
It
I
feels
thought
like
it was
crowbarred in there.
Yeah, exactly.
crowbar. It was right at the end.
It's very
but
unnecessary.
It's unnecessary, but I thought it was funny. I liked their answers for the songs
Well,
too. They were,
But then we never got the real answer of what
I
Miriam
know.
does.
I'm
like,
what
what
the
the
hell does Miriam
Here's
do?
what I deduced based on all their answers. She is some kind of scientist.
She's a chemist, I
she's
guess.
a chemist.
She went to
who has
Johns
developed-
Hopkins. I know that
She
much.
has developed some kind of skincare regimen,
Which makes
and
sense
is
that she's a
selling
chemist,
that.
right?
So she's
So-
an entrepreneur who I think sells her own skincare. If anyone knows, let me know.
There you go. Yeah,
Does she
we-
That's
have
what
a
I deduced
business
based on-
or not?
You're not-
Does she live in Saudi
You live-
Arabia?
Yeah, or you live here in Houston. Where you live?
That's what I think based on all their answers combined.
Well, there it is.
All right, well there you have it, folks. That is Love Is Blind season 5 wrapped up.
Yep.
It was it was more disappointing than I was hoping it was going to be, but what can the show do with only 2 couples, right? But I think they did the best they could at the end, especially with the reunion here. And hey, but please tell us what you thought about it. You still want to give me some shit for the whole makeup thing? That's cool. I don't care. But we love having conversations with you guys about this. And hey, hit that like and subscribe, and we will check you guys in our next review.
Later.
See ya.